Welcome back to Soft Hands Garage. We're going to do some work on the GMC in the 1 month that I've got left to do anything. And then I'm going to be gone again for about 5 months. So, the one video after the T-Bird, of course, this year that's going to happen until September, September timeframe, something like that. And here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be prepping the frame, what there is left to do to it, for the engine to go in it. That's right. I mentioned it in the T-Bird video that it's at the machine shop, and when it comes back, it's actually going to be ready to go in, because he's going to assemble it for me. So I took all of the parts that I had sitting on that shelf, those two shelves here, which now have some other junk on them, because I spread out a little bit once those parts were gone. 2 full shelves full of the engine parts, and then of course the new stuff I bought. And I took them over to the machine shop, and he's going to put it all together for me. He's going to start this weekend, and I got 1 month between this weekend and the time I'm leaving. Really what I want to do is have this thing all prepped and ready in the next 2 weeks, so that when it comes in, when he's done with it and I get it back, I can put it right into the frame. It gives me 2 weeks. We'll be leaving too quickly once I get the engine to actually spend much time, but maybe a weekend I'll have to mess around and put the engine in it. And so whatever I can get done, great. But as long as I got it ready for the engine to go in it. So I got this, I got both of the mounts. I got a drill hole still in that bracket, or in both brackets, just picking the center on these. And I got the other mount in that box there. And so I got a drill hole in both of these brackets, and that's those mounts. Easy peasy. And then the rear ones, I've got these that go up, nice. Go up and come out through this hole. And then I got the saddle is what I got ordered that goes over the top of that, and it's on the way. It'll be here in a couple of days. That's great. That's it for parts. I'm already pretty well set. Then it's back to my old favorite, wire brushing. And I had thought I left these in better condition. It's not that bad, I guess. This one cross member, if you can make that out in there, but it's pretty crusty still. And same thing with this one. Actually, this one's the worst one. The one I'd done least to, apparently. And all underneath these rails. And don't worry, this isn't going to be just me wire brushing everything, okay? Well, then I got the transmission. I don't think it's going to take me 2 weeks to get all that cleaned up. So I'm probably going to be starting on the transmission and getting it. But as you can probably see, this is another very caked, nasty thing that's going to take, and I have to do it all by hand. I can't pressure wash it, because you end up with water in it and ruin the thing. So it's going to be wire brushing by hand or by, wire wheel or whatever. So anyways, I'll get some of that done. But I got to get that. Got to finish the drive shaft. I already have the hanger bearing, a new hanger bearing, but I got to do the U-joints. I got all 3 U-joints I got to replace, and I got to paint them. But no big deal. That's, a few hours worth of it. Then I got this pipe, which I've hung on to despite it being full of holes, because I just want them to make one just like it. That's all I want. I'll buy the muffler. They flange it on this end, and I'll put a muffler on it and another straight tailpipe off the back of it. And that's it. That's all I need is this one piece of pipe. So hopefully it's not too ridiculously expensive. because the down tubes are like awesome. I mean, they don't look great, but they're thick. They're in serious. There's not a hole in it. They're in great shape. So I'm not gonna have to have new down tubes made. Just this one piece of pipe, and hopefully it's not too bad. I got to figure out what to do about the clutch. I don't know if I can get a new one or if I got to have this run rebuilt or what. Not really sure how all that stuff works. I haven't really messed that much with them, but got to do that. That's definitely too far gone to put back in, so I got to do that. Okay, well, it's time to get dirty. I got my preferred tool set here. I got stuff I can't reach. I already been under there with that wire wheel on the drill. Probably even have less room to get with that angle head, but there was a lot that it couldn't reach. So I got a bunch of different hand tools. Gonna go ahead and break the handle off another one of these in about 30 seconds. And then, just various things that'll hopefully get me somewhere. Gonna wear glasses, even gonna wear some gloves. I got a skull cap here, an old skull cap that hats don't fit very good, but I don't want all this junk in my hair since I actually have some now. Anyways, just gonna time lapse this for a couple minutes maybe max, so don't go running off. That's not gonna be a whole long video of me wire brush and everything. Where did the glasses go? Kidding me. In case you're wondering why I've been putting this off for so long. Ow. I got the last piece I needed for the mounts. This thing just goes up underneath here and through that hole. And that's it. About 80% done with these cross members. I haven't really started on the underside of that one yet, but back to that, I guess. Thought this was kind of cool. That's the original black paint on the inside here that I got down. I mined down to. Uh-oh. Oh no. This is supposed to be like this. It's funny, I got all excited and I just had it backwards. This side mounts here and then drill the hole here. I mean, this is thick stuff. I don't know if I need to weld these up when I drill that hole in there. Or just, maybe just put a big washer on it on the backside. I don't know, but I'll figure something out. I don't know if you can make this out in the camera, but this is why I unaffectionately call this Dirt Town, USA. My truck is nasty, filthy. Everything in the shop just got this, I don't know, 1/8 inch deep dirt on everything. Trying to keep the stinking door open so I don't asphyxiate. Everything's covered. I swept off my frame here and it's all just covered again. And then I broke my switch on the grinder, so I'm done. I am just gonna stop and try and clean this crap up. First time anything other than black paint we've used. And we'll go ahead and do the orange paint on it.
No, that's good.
How's that?
It's not like 1-to-1, but it is very
pretty
close.
darn close,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the closest you can get. Pretty much everybody had decided.
Yeah.
It's a Ford paint,
Yeah.
engine paint, but it's still.
Cool.
I'm first time I'm painting something other than black on the thing.
Yeah. No, that's sweet.
Well, here it is. All done and assembled. Ready to go. Kind of just want to just start it right now. Throw the starter in it, put some oil in it, and go. Okay, I can't do that, but I am close to painting it. We got a little crud in here that didn't come off in the wash. I'm gonna have to hit with the wire wheels and stuff in the brush, but nothing. I mean, just little corner spots just in the water pump area, water jacket thingy, whatever. There's the bell housing all done. So it's gonna look something like that. But I did get primer for it too. And I may try the heat thing. If you look at a year or two ago, Uncle Tony did a video on painting engines, and he suggested that you do the heat because these things are cast and they're absorbent to a degree, and all that many years of grease. I don't know if his was run through the vat or not, but this has all been run through the vat, even though I do have obviously the crud in there still. But I don't know, maybe the vat sucks it out a little bit better, chemically cleans it better. But main thing is having some primer and then paint her up. So here's the exhaust ports with the exhaust valve in it. Look how clean that is. So nice. I guess I'm gonna probably tape these off, just to keep from getting crud in it. Got new freeze plugs in it. Anyways, I think I'm gonna be able to do, I've got my forklift, my manual forklift back there is actually rated for 800 pounds, and this should be about 750, but I think that's with the bell housing and full of oil and stuff, so that I should have plenty of room. I can just pull it off with that pallet and just set it down, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna have to get it out of here in order to do the painting and stuff like that. So whether it's with the hoist or with that forklift, I'm not sure yet, but I'll get that done. But I think also so it's pretty convenient sitting in here in the back of the truck and scraping and wire wheeling and stuff. So I'll take care of that first, but I got to cover up all my ports and everything first. Yeah, I'm gonna run these plugs through the wire wheel like this one, because they're pretty nasty and I don't want to put them in there, but they're empty holes right now and I don't want crud getting in there, so I'm gonna zap these off real quick. I probably eBay these as new old stock. cleaned up nice. I don't know that they were. I think they were, maybe had 1,000, 2,000 miles on them. Honestly, as cruddy as they were, which just kind of shocks me that they were that crudded up with just a couple thousand miles on them. But I thought the insulation was cracked and everything, but it was just the crud on them, I guess. I guess they're probably perfectly good plugs. Yeah, there's a little more grease on it than I was thinking. These head bolts are all pretty greasy. They're going to take a little bit of work, but nothing. I might see if I can dig up an old picture from when we pulled it out or before we pulled it out, and you can see it was just a big ball of grease. The whole thing was like, if you were trying to explain how an engine runs and you showed them this thing, somehow a big ball of grease makes forward motion. Yeah, this is fine. This is just not that big of a deal. Well, compared to anything I've been scraping on with this thing and the transmission that I still got to do, this is nothing. This is just almost fun just to sit here and peel off some of this grease. Okay, well, I've been wire wheeling and just wire brushing everything, trying to knock off the flash rust and everything, and she's shining up pretty good. Gonna try the heat trick just to see, try it on a spot on the block somewhere. Just get the torch and heat it up and, see if I can get that grease to draw out of it. And I guess I'll just hit it with the brake clean then, and once it's drawn out, I don't know. I guess that's the way it goes. I'll give it a try, but it's pretty much ready to go with that. I got a little more scraping and stuff to do in the water majigger and some wire brushing, but pretty much done. Unfortunately, my fault, really. I mean, make it out on that side of the bolt head, but all the hardware is the original stuff, and I didn't think about it when I brought everything to him, but I didn't clean any of it. And of course he wasn't going to throw it in the vat with everything, so they're just the way they were. So I'm going to get everything I can, but it's only going to be the stuff you can see. I'm not pulling them bolts head bolts out for that. And original, as far as that part goes, I was worried about it. I was trying to find a bolt kit and couldn't find one, but he said no, these are not those modern day torque bolts that you're only supposed to use once, and then once they've been torqued, they're done and you got to get new ones. So he said you're better off using the original. So that was cool, but if I'd have thought about it ahead of time, I would have cleaned them up. But yeah, it's fine. It'll just paint on the inside or whatever will be flaking off eventually. But anywho, then I think I am, I've been debating back and forth whether I'm gonna what I'm gonna do as far as pulling it out of here, and I am just gonna go put it on the rotisserie, I think, because I just don't see any other way of really getting the paint job done good. So, and I just hate it. That's why I've been trying to figure out some other way, because I don't like the rotisserie. It scares me every time it's on that engine stand, but that's the only way to go with it. So that's what I'm going to do. Anyone ever do that? Just missed it. That thing is just still dumping ATF out. I tightened them stinking bolts. Then they backed out, and then I put RTV on the head and Loctite on it. I'm gonna have to get under there and see if they backed out any, or if it's just the two I can't get to underneath the cross member. Man, that's ridiculous. Bloodbath. This is cool. So I hit it just with a little bit of heat with a torch, and it made a wet spot right there. It drew the oil out of it. So worth doing. I don't think it doesn't have to be like heated up to glowing or anything. Let's just kind of draw it out. Yeah, probably be worth it. So the paint doesn't come off a week after I paint it. And then I guess what I'll do is hit it with brake cleaner. I'll be dipped. Look at how wet that is with the grease coming out of it. That is awesome. Great tip, Uncle Tony. Got a shot at making this thing stay decent for a while. Just gonna run around the block and do that, and then hit it with the brake cleaner. I got some new flashing going on with the rust already because it's been raining here and wet. Goes from dust to wet. That's just the way it is. So I'm gonna do this trick with the heat and brake clean it and everything, and then I'm gonna fog it down in the wide open areas. I got some new flashing going on with the rust already because it's been raining here and wet. Goes from dust to wet. That's just the way it is. So I'm gonna do this trick with the heat and brake clean it and everything, and then I'm gonna fog it down in the wide open areas with the primer, and that way it just keeps that from being duplicate primer 10 times, and that way then later today probably being duplicate effort. Hoist hooked up, and then later pull it off and put it on. I'll get the hoist hooked up and pull it off and put it on the. There's just oil sitting right on top now. I'll redo my masking here so that I follow these surfaces better, but for now I just want to make sure I'm not getting anything on the in the holes and stuff. Just gonna make things easier later. Not really done with these, but I'll come back with a brush and get all this old paint and stuff off a little bit too. So get a little bit of primer on it, it'll be fine. It'll come right off with a wire. Let that sit for a few minutes. Okay, that ought to be good enough to keep the flash rust off. And I'll put on another coat or two of the primer once I get her out. Okay, I got an idea for these headers, and maybe even for the down tubes. We'll see. Show you that in a bit, but I got to get all this cleaned up to start with. So they look all crusty and rusty and stuff, but that's just cinders from up in Show Low. Red dirt caked on there and flaky looking, but they clean up really nice. Still got some things to do, but I thought this was pretty cool. 11/19/1959, stamped or plate welded onto it. And of course the old GMC logo on it. And they're in fantastic shape. There's no cracks, nothing. I mean, those things are serious. I don't think they're going anywhere. The cheek poker got me in the leg here. So I thought I'd try and save this down tube as well. And I knew there'd be some corrosion. This is the lowest hanging piece right here. And there definitely is a little loss, but this is, I mean, this is serious. This is not a piece of tin here. So, you know, maybe lost a layer here. And a little bit of pitting, but this is going to save me a bunch of money if I can do that, because all I'll need is a pipe, you know, from that end on out to the muffler, and then another piece of pipe from that. There's just one little bend in it. Well, not little, but one bend in it, pretty much, for the pipe after this. So that's really the big piece that, you know, has all the bends and stuff to it. And I mean, I'm thinking it's perfectly fine. And clean it up and salvage it as well. I think I'll do the same treatment that I'll show you to this as well. That's brass brazing on the intake. So that's a long time ago. And it's held up just fine, so I'm going to leave that alone. Like I said, I've gone back and forth about 100 times on how I want to do this, and I went back to the forklift. The problem with this is, with these rails at the bottom, I can't drop that pallet except on it, and then I can't get the forks back out. But all I'm going to do is get it off and then put it on the stand. I already got the stand mounted where I think it'll be the best. I think this thing is just too stinking top heavy, and it was going to want to rotate upside down, but I'm not really even going to rotate it once it's on there. I don't think I need it. I just need it on the stand so that I can get underneath it, and that'll be fine. I don't need to flip it around or anything. I don't want it to. I don't want it to flip, so I'm just going to lock it in place once I get it on the stand. I don't think that's going to be in far enough. Pull it forward a little bit. Out a little bit. Maybe. It's off. Over. Come on. See if that helps. Okay, that is as far as it goes, so let's see if that's enough. Woo! Oh man, she's tippy. Okay. Not bad. Okay, now the trick is going to be, you got to get it up just a little bit off of the wheels. And then the stand is going to have to, oh, that's not going to work. Well, it'll butt up against the pallet. There's no way to get it back. Well, it's out of the truck, I guess. That's something. A thing. But I'm still going to have to cherry pick it. To get it off the pallet and over. What can I do? Could split forks, well, but then would have to come in from, oh no, I could come in from that side, but the block would have to move. I don't know, I think I'm just stuck. And I can't get it from this side. Yeah, I can't do that unless I put blocks under this, which I could do that. Put something underneath the pallet. Set it pallet down on that, and then it'll at least be on the ground, and I can come over with a picker, pick it up, swing it over, or pick it up, pull the pallet, and then move the picker under it, or the stand under it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Okay. Do that. Stop. And it has to go under. This didn't save me a thing. I don't know. Let's see what it does. Kind of what I thought. Okay, that's all right. We'll figure something out. You could probably pick it up from there. I gotta get in closer. Which means this thing has to come up more. Why, this was just not a well thought out plan. Was not a well thought out plan. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'll put this back together and have it here. Then I'll jack it up with the forklift so I can get this underneath it, underneath the pallet, enough to reach over and grab it up. Then I gotta drop the pallet, pull the forklift back out, then I can get the pallet out, then I can put the stand on. So I said I did this, went over this 100 times in my head, and none of this was part of it. Well, I got to take the intake off, which means I got to take this strap off. That's going to be a little bit scary while I'm moving everything. I don't know. Gonna have to think on it some more. Okay, I missed filming it. We hooked it up, and we're able to get the pallet out. Now we got to get the stand on her. Sort of sideways-ish or diagonal. All right, I'm gonna come up with it. All right. You're that close. Yeah. If you could not be quite, yeah. Just if something gave. My whole thing was to keep it. No, what we do then is we just pick this up and put it on. So the video's not getting any of that. Come on, you dirty rotten.
Yeah, I'll back it up a little bit.
Am I stopping on something? Okay, now I need to get a bolt, which I had and set down somewhere. All right, I think we're okay. That's there, it's on all the way. All right, down we go. Slowly. Slower but faster, but quicker. Is it down? No.
That's a lot of faith in one bolt.
Can you believe that whole thing? Now that bolt isn't holding. It's just keeping it from turning.
Oh, right.
That's it. Okay. That wasn't so bad. Terrible, but not so bad. What I'm going to do for the plug holes is I got all of these bolts and washers are pretty close. And then just drop those into the plug holes with this. Kind of like this. And then that'll sit in there and I can paint. I can clean all this stuff up and then get the vacuum and suck out. Of course, it'll suck out that bolt too. I didn't think about that. What I may do is just leave, this may just be for painting, and I may just leave the spark plugs in there for cleaning up and then just hit the vacuum. All these spots with a vacuum, suck it all back out. Because I got to get these bolt heads. I mean, they're nasty. And that's gonna, there's no way I can keep it from getting in there. I got these little rotary tool guys. And just putting it in the drill, chucking it up in the drill, and it's getting in these little corners perfectly. I was not able to get this stuff. Yeah, I got another set of the big ones again. I still have these guys, but I was out of wheels, so those seem to be the most handy for this type of stuff. Wow, what a lifesaver. I honestly thought I had several hours left of scraping and scrubbing with brushes, and those little things just absolutely saved me. I think the rest of this is just going to wipe out. So I'm going to do that, wipe it all down, spray it down, and then it's, you know, probably just hours of masking that I got left to do before I can paint it. I sprayed it with the stuff.
Yeah.
Right, because what you're doing is you're creating, and you give it like 5 or so minutes to dry and get tacky.
Yeah.
So that it has something to stick to, basically, the next coat.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can start laying it on a little bit thicker. All right, well, I finished prepping it this morning. I had to get the oil pan still. I hadn't done anything with that when I started hitting it with the primer again. I just did that this morning. Ran the crap out of it. It's run like a marathon down the side of it because I had to, over my head trying to get those bolt heads so they're getting covered and just flooded down. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry till this afternoon, and then I'm going to sand those runs down and probably spot check it again with the primer. Just so you know, as you're watching this, this is not how you properly prep metal for paint. Okay, I worked in a body shop for a couple of years. All I did was prep, and I know that this is not sufficient, and I may live to regret it. But my hope is right now, number one, that they have done something with the chemicals where now they'll stick to oily metal. But then failing that it lasts for the rest of my life and I don't have to see it start peeling off, and I don't know. Up to you on your jobs, but maybe spend the 2 weeks prepping it if you don't want the paint to come off. As part of it too is that it's reassembled, and so all the hardware is just it's bad. I didn't do anything to it before I took it to him. I really didn't think about it. If he had asked me, I probably would have said something. Well, I'll probably just run him through the chemicals with the rest of the stuff, because he did run the pan through. He had to. He ran, I think, all the big parts through the chemical dip thing, whatever, the bath. And I guess I would have thought that the hardware would have gone with it. But it's not like I just had all kinds of time. Well, gosh, I wish I had just gone and taken the time. Well, kinda, but what time is that? Where am I taking it from? But anyways, zapping them on the wire wheel before they went would have been a nice thing. But anyway, it's gonna look good for a while. Okay, I'm getting all the tight spots first, because that's where I tend to lose patience and end up running the heck out of it in these little tight spots. So I gotta start there, I think, is key. And I'm just putting down a coat to give it something to stick to anyway. Not going real heavy on anything. Trying to cover everything at least. Not leave big stripes of nothing but oops, I didn't really want to do that. I had to apply the primer on that because I had a bunch of drips. I had to sand. I don't want to hit that yet, even though I just did a little bit. I'll let that sit for 5 minutes or so. Calm day, but I got one little speck Just a slight breeze came in. I can't close the door though, because I'll have no ventilation and no air movement. I'm gonna keep wiping the nozzle off. It gums up fast. Lots of nooks and crannies. Oh, killed this can.
Wow. Didn't expect it to be that done.
Well, I got enough speckles on it. There's just 3 or 4, but it just, that little breeze just brings something in every time. So I'm gonna try having it closed, except for the bottom, the door, and I got the rear fans going. And then I got some spots I can for sure miss from these weird angles. It's really tough in the spark plug holes. This is nowhere near ready, but I gotta try it. It's kind of goes on like paint. Let's just look at it. It even has the mixie ball in it. So it's a dry lubricant, but I mean, it's really slick, so things will just fall right off of it. Just slide off. All the dirt will and everything, of course. But it doesn't come off. You know, I've used graphite for stuff before, for lubricant, but it's the powder stuff. Huh. So what they say is, of course, it's impervious to heat, so that's not an issue. And that it holds on pretty darn good. It's got this cool gray to it. And you can easily reapply it. Just spray it on, doesn't run, doesn't do any of the things that paint would do. I like it. I'm definitely doing this with the manifolds and the down tubes. Good stuff. And we'll see what happens when I get the wire wheel back out and finish prepping the thing. How quick and easy it comes off. Yeah, we're just gonna try it. That's interesting. It just basically polished it. It doesn't come off. All right, well, that's all the prep I'm gonna do. Let's do it. It smells very industrial. Doesn't smell like paint at all. Crazy stuff. It did finally come off with a lot of wire wheeling and brake cleaner. Might do a test piece just to see if it just comes off with brake cleaner, because that wouldn't be particularly good, because I imagine there'll be some chemicals. Look at that, it smells like an antique car. That's the smell. Look at how that's gonna look. Oh yeah, nice. So after doing, I was noticing, like, when I would handle it, it would get kind of shiny. And what it was is it has a dust layer basically on it. So you got to wipe that off, because you're going to when you handle it anyway. But once you wipe it off, it looks like bare metal is what it looks like. Actually, really cool. I mean, I like that flat, really dark gray look with the dust on it, but this is really awesome too. Really cool. I like this. These little brushes are an absolute lifesaver. I can't tell you, these little grooves and little nooks and crannies, like just this little dimple is like just painful for me with the wire brushing by hand. And this they held up. I was like, there's no way. They're used once and throw away, but I've used the heck out of these things. I'm gonna go get another set of them for when they do go, because man, saving me hours, honestly, of hand brushing this stuff. Okay, this is kind of like a test fit slash just cover up the ports. I did the bolt heads with the graphite too. That's going to be a little tougher to tell if it's coming off, because I wire wheeled them. They were pretty shiny, and it's really not much different than the look at the bolt head. So that may not work. So I did also notice as I was wire wheeling them that they had the orange paint on it originally. So maybe they don't get as hot. They can just take that, as the header does. Crap. I'm trying to be careful and not get paint where my bearing surfaces are, or mating surfaces, I guess. But that did not work out well for either the intake or the exhaust. The intake's not as bad because it's going to be orange, and I can just spray underneath it once it's on there. But this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to, I don't know, draw a line with a pencil or something. Anyways, that looks really good. That's pretty. Okay, well, attempt number 2 was very successful on the exhaust manifold side. No paint showing, no bare spots with no paint, but not the same for the intake, unfortunately. And I'm not going to do it again because that had some overspray on some things, and I just resprayed those to get the gloss back on them. So I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to take some and paint and spray it into a cap and paint those with a paintbrush, those little spots. But anyway, pretty, looking good. All right, that fixed that. Only took about 10 coats to get a little different coming off a brush than it is a spray can, but it works. That's it. I'm done. I'm out of time. I still have 1 week before I leave, but I still got things to do to this truck. Got a really good clean bill of health for a used 2011. They said it was in great shape. No leaks. Just awesome. Somehow or another, I did really good on this one. But pretty much right after they checked it out, the right rear shock blew out. So I got to deal with that. I got shocks coming Friday, and I got to change the brake fluid out because it looks like it's never been changed and is heavily contaminated. So I don't know, this looks lighter on camera to me, but it is dark. This is like original brake fluid in here, and you know, it's kind of interesting. You just see it in there. You could tell it's dark. It's just interesting to me that you get those used car things done and checks, you know, once you bought it, and they don't mention this kind of thing. But anyways, I'm cleaning this stuff out. Gonna put some fresh in there. That's what it's supposed to look like. Nice and clear. But otherwise, that's about it. There's really nothing else to do to it to get it roadworthy, but I do got to do those things. I literally have 1 week. Today is Wednesday. I leave for 5 months next Wednesday. So I got lots to do around the house and getting this truck ready. So she's all done. As far as it's going to happen before I go, I did do this little, you know, EGR valve version 1960. But I can't hang it off of the motor. It actually hangs off of the bell housing. I forgot that. So I was going to put it on there for some contrast with that nice black and against the orange. But anyways, did pretty good. Got quite a bit done. Gonna toss a moving blanket over the top of it, and then I'm gonna put a tarp over that. That way, if anything came down, which it doesn't get that wet here, but just in case something got wet on top, the tarp would take care of that. And then the blanket won't allow there to be any condensation sitting on it. And then I'm just going to leave it open on the bottom. Not going to tie it up, you know, and create condensation inside of it. Just leave it wide open on the bottom, and that, you know, airflow and everything will keep everything dry in there. So nighty night. All right, guys, that's it. I'm done, and it's going to be a little while before I put out another one. But hang in there and watch us put this thing together. That's coming up next.